So what you've just seen is the Kuleshov effect, which is an experiment developed by Soviet filmmaker Lev Kuleshov in the very early 1900s. The idea of it is that the audience will read the emotions in an actor's face differently depending on the preceding shot, opening up a world of possibilities for film editing. It's often cited as the cornerstone of filmmaking and the starting blocks where filmmakers could create the meaning that they wanted expressed.
We have lived in a society with a handful of gatekeepers, which are the news agencies, and whichever segments of the video they decide to put out then becomes a narrative. There's more and more people taking footage of what's actually going on. So it's no longer a case of, oh, we heard about something that happened there. It's we can actually watch it. The proliferation of smartphones has certainly enabled people to see what's happening in a clearer way than they could have done previously. However, we all have to be careful with the content that we're watching. We have to understand that the same incident can be shot in 3 different smartphones by 3 different people in 3 different parts of the crowd, and you could get a very, very different narrative of what's going on. If you look at certain channels, then you will sort of push the narrative one way or another. So I think it's going to be worse on TV and worse on the broadcasters because they have clear narratives and clear objectives of what they're trying to achieve. But even on social, even from well-meaning people in the crowd putting the video up, context is everything. I would really encourage people to try and find the raw videos, try and find the longer form content to actually understand what's going on. I've seen lots of videos from London around the protest where the policewoman fell off the horse, and I've seen different videos that sort of tell a very different story. And it's one event, something happened, but there's a whole load of different narratives as to what caused that.
The amount of clips I've seen of the horse charging at protesters, whatever you want to call it, you think sometimes you're watching the same clip, but actually you realise that there's hundreds of people there. You've got the police with body cams on. It really makes you think about accountability of the police. They are being filmed non-stop by these protesters. If they put a foot wrong, then they're going to be everywhere online.
Whether you're like far left or far right, you can always find the bias within the videos. So for example, if you look at one clip, it looks like the police officer is charging at the protesters. If you look at another clip, it looks like the protesters have thrown the bike at the police officer. Without getting all those different clips, we will never have the full rounded story, and you will either have a bias leaning one way or the other.
Looking at it as rationally as you can see how there are elements of police being really aggressive and protesters being unnecessarily provoking towards the police. But I just thought that horse had no rider. Like, why not jump on and ride off into the sunset? That is what I would have done.
I think that black people are the victims of white racism and white supremacy. We're the ones who need to do the work. Whenever these kind of things happen, these awful deaths like Jimmy Mubenga, like George Floyd and many more, they get black people, commentators on the telly and the radio, which I have no problem with. But the people who need to answer the questions are us, white people. I really believe that. We need to change. We are the ones who need to change, not black people.